Hi guys, let me just address the multicoloured elephant in the room before we go any further. The reason I'm filming in my bathroom is because my bedroom is a disaster area. My dog raided the bin in the middle of the night and proceeded to throw up the plundered contents of said bin all over my bed. So yeah, it's like HazChem level 10 in there at the moment. Also, I happen to like my shower curtain and I think it looks really pretty for a backdrop. I'll also address the shaky cam. I'm holding a phone because my selfie stick's broken. And also because I don't want to admit to owning a selfie stick, which I guess I just did. Anyway, today's video will address a few things. The first, a couple of film reviews. And I'm really late to the party on both of these, so I apologise. I went in February to see Split, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. Now, I've been a fan of M. Night's for a long time. I stuck with him through the Village backlash because I didn't understand it. I loved that movie. It was a victim of really bad advertising, which was the director's fault. And yeah, I don't know what possessed him. But anyway, I love that movie. Liked Devil. Last Airbender and The Happening I won't even discuss here because it doesn't bear discussion. When The Visit came out, I liked it. Didn't love it, but you know what? I was still in M. Night's camp because he is a very brave writer and director and creator. He will make the bold choice and do things that aren't necessarily popular because it's something he wants to explore, and I have tremendous amount of respect for that. And I try to approach writing from that standpoint myself. When I went to see Split, I did so with a tiny bit of trepidation because I thought moviegoers, I read a few reviews of the trailer and people saying, oh, it looks schlocky, oh, it's got a gimmick, I bet there's a twist. And you know what I say to those people? Fuck you in the ear. This movie was amazing. Every single performance in it was fantastic, despite what's being said about the other two girls in a lot of reviews. I thought they were great. Anya Taylor-Joy, she just breaks your heart all the way through it. She really does. She's such a real character. You know, you'd swear she's a real person. I adored her. That's my phone. Ignore that. Oh, James McAvoy. If he isn't nominated for an Oscar next year, I will be fucking pissed because he just put in the most virtuosic performance of his entire career. He was amazing. He had you terrified one minute, crying the next. I mean, there's a moment towards the end of the movie, without giving spoilers away, where I felt so much for one of the personalities, and I won't give anything away by saying which one. I was literally crying. It broke my heart, and I wasn't the only person in the theatre who was either. So yeah, it was just amazing. It's back to Sixth Sense sort of territory, in that it's heart-wrenching and terrifying and funny, you know, all at once. It's different to the Sixth Sense, so in the fact that the emotional parts don't feel sappy. Like, I love The Sixth Sense, but parts of it, they feel a bit laboured. Whereas the emotion in this is real, and it's just, yeah. It's amazing. It just was absolutely amazing. The ending was fantastic, and not just for the tiny little twist before the credits. It's as close to perfect a film as I've seen in a very long time. So yeah, loved it. M. Night, you're back. Awesome. The second film I saw was on DVD. I've owned it for a while. I think almost a year. I could be wrong. And I literally had to get it out of the shrink wrap to watch it. That's how, long I've had it. And it was The Witch. Another movie I went into with a little bit of trepidation because of stupid horror fans. I'm not apologising for calling them that, because these people were... I'm a horror fan, but I'm not a stupid one. These stupid horror fans saying, oh, that it was too slow. Oh, there was so much tension. Not enough payoff. You're idiots. There was plenty of payoff. It just happened right at the end when it's supposed to. Anyway. The writing, the script was amazing. The performances were brilliant. It was just... the atmosphere was so creepy. The cinematography, my God, it was brilliant. It takes you into the lives of this really ultra-faithful New England family. And just, the father has basically committed the sin of pride against the congregation in the town that they're from, and they are ostracised and forced to live in the woods. And they build their own little farm there, and things don't go well, put it that way. The titular witch only makes brief appearances, but when she does, oh wow, it's friggin' terrifying. She's just, you wouldn't want to walk into the goat shed in the middle of the night to check on the goats and find her feeding on them. She's just feeding from them. Ugh, it's just awful. The performances were amazing. The little kids in this movie were so convincingly bratty and annoying that, and I'm not sure I'm not alone, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this. All the way through it, I was saying, when is the witch going to eat these children already? Seriously, they're such good little actors. The kid who plays the son is really, really good. Struggling with adolescence and feeling sinful for looking at his sister in a certain way. It's just, oh man, yeah. I'm glad I wasn't born in New England times, in ye oldie times, let's face, really. Oh. Anya Taylor-Joy goes without saying, she was brilliant. I mean, you felt for this girl. She could not win. There was just no possible out for this kid. No good one. There was just none. Which brings me to the ending, which I won't spoil here. People have complained about the ending, saying it's not convincing and it wouldn't happen and she wouldn't make this decision. And I say, unless you've been faced with as dire a choice as that yourself, you really have no business saying what she would or wouldn't do. It was brilliant. I give it a 10 out of 10. Oh, and splitness is unnecessary to say I give that a 10 out of 10. Now, on to books. I have joined the Better World Books reading challenge. I've been very, very slow to read because January and February were kind of stressful months for me this year. But I started The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell as the fantasy book choice, which is, I think, just near the top of the list. I was really getting into it, and I was 3/4 of the way through. Then I caught a cab after a late night shift at work and left it in there. And it was never returned to me, despite the number of calls I made to lost property, so I'm really, really pissed. I'm not a fan of audiobooks that much, so I don't want to get the audiobook. If anyone happens to have a second-hand copy of The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell, holla. So I had to move on to another category, which was food memoir. And I am currently reading, and almost all the way through, I realise that's backwards, Julie and Julia by Julie Powell. Another case where I cannot understand some of the vitriolic reviews. I was on Goodreads and Amazon looking through reviews, which I should have learned by now not to pay any attention to, and people have had some horrible things to say about the author. They're reviewing the author, not the book. And that pisses me off. Oh, she had an affair on her husband. She treats her husband like crap. Oh, she's bitchy. You know what? So am I. I mean, I've never cheated on anybody, but I mean, I'm an absolute hell bitch to live with. Ask my son. It's just, it's honest and it's real and it's funny and it's so intelligent and witty. I'm really loving it. And, you know, it's the story of a woman, as she says in the DVD extras on the movie, trying to make a space for herself in her own life. And I can relate to that because that's what I'm trying to do. And she succeeded at it. And there are people out there who don't like to see less than perfect people succeed, so they will say mean things on Amazon. And you know what? I think that makes them fucking cowards. If you're going to criticize someone for doing something honest, then at least have the guts to do something honest yourself. You know, she's honest with herself and with about the people she loves, and I just think that's so refreshing, and it's hilarious. I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah, I'm really loving it. I just think she's awesome. And as I said on Twitter earlier today, I think I've met my soul sister. Anyway, so yeah, it's so far I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I'm really loving it. The next book, well, actually, I read it before I started reading Julie and Julia. Isn't part of the Better World Books Challenge. I just have had it in my shelf for a while and wanted to read it, and it was Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. It's a memoir on growing up in Iran from, I think she's from about 8 until she's in her early 20s. And it's wonderful. I'm just powered through it in like a day and a half. It was just amazing. Another person who's brutally honest about herself and about the people she loves, which I, as I said before, find really refreshing and wonderful. It's funny, it's heartbreaking. The illustrations are just divine. Yeah, I just loved it. I'm having difficulty sort of expressing exactly what it was that I loved about it, which is a good thing because it means that a book touches you on some, you know, unattainable level where you can't quite get at what about it moved you so much. And that's usually pretty wonderful because it means I'm not struggling for things to say, grappling for big words to say. Yeah, I really loved it, and I have to get my hands on the movie because, yeah. And I'm going to buy her other books as well because I, just adored it. That's it for the books and movies reviews. That made grammatical sense. Good one, Mel. At the moment, as in terms of my writing, I am. I've finished Banter, which is a combination of 2 short stories featuring the same character from my first collection, Trails, and another story at the end, which is the final chapters in the life of this particular character. It's sort of neo-noir exploitation thriller, and I'm releasing it in parts on a couple of different short fiction sites where I'm serializing it basically before I release it as a book next year. Yeah, and that's kind of been a really fun and rewarding experience because I'm getting feedback as I post each chapter, and I love that. and I'm releasing it on the sites Wattpad and Jukepop. So look for it. It's called Banter by MJ Moore, and it's on Wattpad and Jukepop. I'm also working on All Good Sons, which is a thriller / literary novel about a mother finding out who targeted her son on prom night and almost beat him to death, beat him into a coma, and why these people did it. And these people were his closest friends. It's also about her trying to, coming to the realization that she wasn't the best mother in the world. Tiny bit of autobiographical content there. Yeah, and that should be out very soon. I've also, in another trademark change of heart, decided to release, self-publish and release The Deified, despite previous statements that I'd sent it to agents. You know what, I really just want to get it out there as soon as possible, so I'm going to release it. For those of you who haven't seen my earlier video on it, The Deified is a thriller / horror novel about a cult that started on a commercial orchard by a man named Jude, who saves lost young women. What he really wants is to start his own cult and sort of burn down the world and create a new one from the ashes. As cliche as that sounds. That will be out at the end of April. I've re-edited it a few times because I'm not quite satisfied with the ending, but I'm nearly there. So that will be out shortly. I'm also working on a short story anthology that has a theme called It All Happened at Number 6. It's a collection of short stories that are all set in either a house or an apartment or even, a business that that resides at number 6 somewhere in the world. Don't ask me why the number 6 popped into my head. It just did. Yeah, and it's a collection of horror stories that take place at an address with the number 6 in it somewhere around the world. Yeah, it's quite possibly the creepiest thing I've ever written in my life, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I will do a cover reveal of that within the next couple of weeks, because I'm going to release it just after All Good Sons comes out. Anyway, enough of my mumbling and muttering and shaky cam. I will let you guys go, and I will catch up with you soon. And again, shameless plug, you can look for Banter by MJ Moore on Wattpad and Jukepop, and I will upload more parts of the story shortly, as soon as I get my home broadband back. Hashtag poor writer. Okay, Mad Mel out. Tune in.